Reading a book about a man dying of typhoid while you're actively recovering from a cold is a really interesting and unique experience. The experience mostly consists of me going, damn dude, could not be me. But it was really funny because he dies. He's the protagonist. We've been following him along most of this book and he dies. He kicks the bucket halfway through. So you're kind of left going, oh, what the fuck? And then his wife kind of doesn't tell anyone that he dies, and she packs a bag and walks into the desert sands. What a hell of a twist. Anyway, of course, the book I'm talking about is The Sheltering Sky by Paul Bowles, which was one of the books that my mentor recommended me to read over the summer. I'm only talking about it now, but I actually finished it last week while I was more actively sick. I'm still a little bit sick, but last week I was in the fucking trenches, and during my sick days I decided to finish off this book, and it was actually pretty good. I really enjoyed it. But it was really funny when you find out that the protagonist is dying of typhoid, and I was like, oh, I'm sick. He's sick. He's gonna die. I'm not gonna die. But his wife is gonna get up to some interesting shenanigans. My mentor assigned it to me as being a piece of foundational literature about deserts, which is important because I'm writing a book about deserts for my undergraduate research, so that's why I had to read the book. And to his credit, the description of the environment and of the desert and the culture around it are stunning and beautiful and really, really significant to the way that I'm going to be writing deserts, so it was actually really helpful in that respect. These descriptions are also incredibly dated. The book is kind of a slow start, and that's because it was written in the 1940s, so that's kind of to be expected. But I got really invested about halfway through the book when we started getting more and more interested in characters other than the main male protagonist, whose name is Port. When we started getting more into the head of his wife, technically, we're in her head the entire story as well. It's kind of a duo POV, but we don't really get into the meat of the story with her until the very, middle to third section of the book. But we also get to see the minds of Tunner, their friend, who they kind of abandon and then kind of don't. And then also, this random lieutenant in one of the towns. We get to see his POV for a while, and that's also kind of interesting. But of course, my favorite character is his wife, because she's a very fascinating character. Her relationship is very fascinating. She kind of cheats on him, but she also loves him and feels really bad about it. But he's also kind of fickle, so she's does she deserve to be with him? Does she not? And that's the whole thing. And then he dies, and the ending is really fascinating as well, because she goes on this whole journey. She walks into the desert, doesn't tell anybody that he's dead, joins a caravan, kind of gets sexually assaulted, and then marries one of the guys who runs the caravan, and then has to escape that marriage. It's this whole thing, and the way the book ends actually is a little bit baffling, but it was still a really good read, so for me it'd be 4 to 5 stars. I would definitely check it out if you're a fan of autobiographical fiction, which is where the author is kind of telling stories from their lives, but it's obviously fiction.